Time for a walk in the arena. Hi, Bunny Bunny. Hi, Bunny Bunny. You think that you're incognito, but I can see you. Is that the right word, incognito? It felt like he was blending in, like I couldn't see him. What could we discuss today? Heck, I don't know. The new virus that's in the news, the rat virus, seems to be gaining some momentum in terms of its progression, I guess you could call it. Recall back in 2019, the end of 2019, somewhere in there, to my recollection, the COVID was pretty much in China, right? And everybody is all masked up over there, and of course most people here were like, oh well, that's over there. But it didn't stay over there, did it? Before you know it, it was here, there, everywhere, and whole world lockdown. Oh, in the matter of a few months. Because I remember by March of 2020, it was that was the situation. I could just see it coming in. I even asked, I was sitting in a bar having a drink one day, and I think I asked the bartender, well, are y'all gonna lock things down? Y'all gonna shut down? And she just kind of looked at me like, really? I didn't even know that was a possibility. And then, just a few short weeks later, they're shutting down bars and churches and places like that. But of course, you could still go to Walmart and walk around. It was just the silliness of some of it. I remember it was like the day before everything was set to just, shut down. And I was at the gym, and there really wasn't anybody there. And the prior few days, they had things set up where, people would be distanced, like you couldn't be on a treadmill next to somebody. You had to have a treadmill in between you, make sure the 6 feet deal, and on that day before it all, officially was locked down, I was at the gym, and it was the oddest thing. I was like probably the only one there. It was just so cleaned out, just like a weird movie. Like fear had just gripped everything, and people just stopped functioning. It was a strange thing, but anyway, and it's like, is that what we're headed into again? I couldn't tell you. It has sort of some similar features, though. It does seem like, it's in the news now, the virus originated from these Dutch people that were on board the ship. So it came from the Dutch people. Way to go, Dutch people. Thanks a lot. And then there was some other, associated aspect of that story about how some official person in the UK, I don't remember her name, something, but they're going to ensure that the virus is contained in the UK so it doesn't spread to Britain. I said, what's that mean? Does that mean time to mask up again? I mean that's what it sounds like. That's just what it feels like. I'm not saying it's going that route, but if you just kind of follow the breadcrumbs, it kind of seems that way. So, there's that. I don't know what else to talk about. I'm sick of talking about everything else. So, let's just try to play, predictor of the future. Let's play that game. See if we're right. Just, by just looking at some elements of history and comparing it to things that are going on now, and see how it plays out. I really don't know. And then what? Do they have a vaccine all ready to go for this thing? Is that where we're headed again? But this time it's going to be a little different. That's right. It's not going to be optional. Because if you don't take it, you go to the quarantine. That's right. They're going to quarantine your ass for however long they need to. Now, I really don't know that either. I just like to be silly. But at the same time, am I being silly? I really don't know. Because I remember that very day when I was at the gym and things were, about to officially go down, in terms of being locked down. Somebody asked me, well, what do you think this is all about? Well, I said, one, it's about control, obviously. And, another big component of it is pushing vaccines, which obviously that happened. I was 100% right. 100%. Will I be right this time? Who knows? Maybe it all just goes away. Remember in 2014 there was the Ebola virus thing that happened. It was very temporary in the news, Very odd thing there. And a healthcare worker and somebody else got the Ebola virus, and then it never really amounted to much of anything. It never became a big pandemic, but it had the feel that it could be, because they rolled out the hardware just a little bit, remember those vehicles that kind of like a big ambulance, maybe they could quarantine somebody or whatever. They kind of rolled that out a little bit, and had some news elements that were kind of scary looking, but then it just kind of went away. And COVID was a different story. It became full-blown worldwide lockdowns, fear-mongering, all of it. And it'll be interesting to see how this goes. I don't have a great feeling about it, because it seems to be, growing in terms of the possibilities. Who knows? I guess we'll find out. In the meantime, inflation's raging, and just all of the other hardships of life. And if we were to have another situation like that where, it shuts down the economy again, holy smoke, then what? Because what it will be trillions of dollars more in debt. We have this war going on. It's kind of crazy. Then you have to zoom out just a little more, maybe even, and think, well, what's the real deal? Is the world morphing into something different? Are we going through some sort of a major change in consciousness, maybe even, where, these things are happening for reasons that we really can't comprehend? I have no idea. It's a little weird. But at some point, people are going to have to be like, this is messed up. Living in a world with viruses and all these potentially, things out there that could get you. And then all of the control mechanisms that are associated with containment of the virus, which of course requires a certain amount of totalitarianism, right? Where the government tells you where to go, what to do, mask up, take your vaccines. That's not freedom. So at some point it's like, so that's how it's going to be. That's what the world is going to be like. Oh, this great AI-driven world. Technology is so great. Really? Is it? Is it really great? When the technology hasn't prevented things from becoming more totalitarian in nature? That's a good thing, huh? That does not make sense. And you would think people would be like, something's really off here. Of course, I've thought that for 25 years, but trying to, convey these things. And I know other people. I know other people feel like that. It's not just me. I'm not, trying to think I'm the only one out here that sees anything. But people are still down with the system. Down with the system. Isn't that a song? Something like that. Down with the sickness. That's a Disturbed song. Down with the sickness. They're down with it. And they'll do anything they're told so that they can hold on to whatever they think is real. Whatever they think is real out here, in the world, or what's real, or what's comforting, or many people will resist the idea of changing into something else. They will hold on to this because it's what they know. It's almost like the ego. It's like hard to let go of that thing that you think is you. And maybe that's the whole point of some of this, is try to point out that this reality isn't what it seems. and many odd things happen in this world. Maybe as a result of consciousness shifting. I don't know, and that's like a threat to the system at large in terms of whatever's controlling this reality. And of course, that's another rabbit hole. What's controlling this reality? The demiurge, what is it? Something's had control of human consciousness for a long time, pulling the strings. Yaldabaoth archons, sort of Gnostic sort of beliefs. I don't know. Who's doing it, Wildfire? Hi, Wildfire. Hi, sweet girl. Hi, Mama. I don't know who's doing it. Your opinion is just as valid as mine, though. Hi, sweet girl. Hi, Biggins. Hi, Biggins. Hi, Big Wildfire. Horses are strange. But I love them. They don't think about anything except for when the next round bell is going to happen, or when they're going to get fed next. They're just herd animals. Oh Lord. And here comes Lucy. They always kind of like to see what I'm doing. They're curious animals. Hi, Biggins. Hi, Big Lucers. It's Big Lucers. She's my Biggins. Hi, Biggins. No, I don't have any treats. That's probably what you're thinking. He's like, he have treats in his pocket? Does he have some treats? No, I don't have the treats. Hi, Biggins. Hi, Biggins. And, anyway. That's why I like walking out here in the field. It's a kind of a peaceful thing. Y'all are working your way through that round bell, I can see. Well, anyhow, alright, well, I don't know. I don't know what else to elaborate on. That's the newest silliness going on in the world, I suppose you could say. The new virus outbreak. We live in such a technological system. Why do we have virus outbreaks? I guess technology's not fixing much of anything, is it? You put all your faith in that and it didn't work. I don't know. Maybe there's a separation of consciousness, those that will continue to believe in this system and all of its silliness, as opposed to people who are like, this is ridiculous. This is a system held together by shoestring and bubblegum, literally. It's a house of cards. A house of cards with really no intelligent design. Not intelligent in the sense of, things being the way they should be. It's a malformed intelligence. They would get back into Gnosticism and the demiurge, a system that was designed by a malevolent being that shouldn't have even existed. But due to some cosmic anomaly, the demiurge was born. Story of Sophia, all that. I mean, if you want to get into that, I'm not saying anybody should believe in anything. These are just stories. But those stories that come from the Gnostics and the writings of those Gnostic writings, the Secret Book of John, the Book of Mary, Book of Thomas, you know, all that. There's several. Probably the Apocryphon of John is, I don't know, the linchpin of Gnostic thinking. But anyway, if you want to get into it or don't, I'm not telling anybody what to believe. Some people will reject that outright because it's not in line with the Bible. But the canonized version of the Bible, you know, it doesn't have, it's an incomplete text. If you have other writings out there that have been suppressed by the powers that be because they contradict the powers that be, well, that's incomplete. That's incomplete. Well, anyhow. All right. Enough of this rant. I think I'll just one more lap around the arena here and guess I'll be done. You want to come walk? Want to come walk the last lap? Yeah, alright, well, so much for this. Do with it what you want. They're just thoughts anyway. They're not, nothing's written in stone. It's just my evaluation of current events and just my own opinions. Okay,